Have the chair.
Thank you. So today's poppers, they just come in a little bag like that. These are good for bluegill. I think these are small. They even come extra small. And those, I like using those too. But bass will eat these. That little fly I'm passing around, bass will come up and eat that too. But usually I like a bigger popper for when I go after bass. One of the first things I do, I put the popper on my bodkin just so I get a hole through it. And next, just attach the thread. And once I get the thread on, I like to take my popper and put it on the hook just to see, once that eye comes out, just to see where it's gonna sit on the hook. And that's pretty much where my thread is. So that's where I want my material to end, or even a little bit towards the eye. So I usually put like a little bump there so I can, like a mark. Now I know that's where the back end of my popper is gonna rest. So now you take it to the bend. I'll just tie this as simple as it is. Oh, just a few strands of flash for a tail. And we've all done hackle. They've showed you before, that's like the way that you should prepare the hackle.
We can't see it.
Where is it? There.
Right in front of your hook.
Can you
There
see
you
that?
go.
How about if I put it on my
Yeah, you're
orange?
fine.
Yep.
Since the Islanders beat the Penguins last night, we're tying orange and blue today. Another 4-goal third period. Denver Broncos. Let's see. Wow, thread slick. All right. I'll just grab both hackles at the same time, start taking them forward. Now I want to go up to where that thread bump is. And then I'll go back. I mean, these don't have to be the prettiest either, because it doesn't matter to them, to the bluegills. The bluegills will eat just about anything you throw out there. Yeah, yep. So once I get that to the bump, secure my hackle. Now at that point you're essentially done. I'll take some more thread all the way to the eye just to give the glue something to stick on. And the tail, you can make the tail as long or short as you like. Make it the same length as the hook shank. It's best to cut it long, because then if you don't like it, you can always trim a little off. It's, you know, once you cut it short, you're done. And I just take some Gorilla Glue or any super glue and put it on the, that might be a little much. Yeah, just put it right on the thread that's on the shank, because then that's what's going to hold the popper on. And you just slide, and then I like to just push it back a little bit, and then it forces that hackle back a little, makes like a little skirt. Get it level, and that's it. That's ready to go fishing. And you can get more, you can get fancier with it. Like the one I passed out, I had rubber legs that I had trailing off the back. You can take your bodkin. These little poppers, it's a little more difficult. You want to go in level behind the eye, but you want to be high enough that you don't stick it into the hook shank, and you don't want to be too high that you bust through the top. So that's pretty straight like that. So all that did was make a hole for me. And I just took an old deer antler, drilled a hole in it, took a sewing needle and JB welded that in. Push that through the hole that you made with your bobbin or your bodkin. You can take rubber legs, put the tip through. And then you just pull the, you can put a little spit on it to lubricate it, pull it through. That's pretty tight. You can add, like right before you're to where you want the legs to be, I'd put a little drop of super glue right there and then pull it the rest of the way through. But I just want blue legs on this one. That's it. That's pretty fancy like that with the legs. But you'll catch fish you'll catch bluegill or bass all day with these poppers. You go to the pond, go anywhere down at the peninsula, and then you can even put a dropper on, tie tippet material to the bend of the hook, and then put a nymph for anything else that submerges, and that way you have something down below and on the surface attracting. And then when you strip this in and it starts popping, well then that nymph is swimming. And there's been days I've been down at the peninsula where 5 hours I'm catching 15 largemouth and 50 bluegill, and it's you know, it's not many days like that, you know, but it's not uncommon to go down there and catch at least, I go a lot with John, and you know 15 or 10, 15, 20 bluegills. You're just boom, 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 boom.
When they're on their beds.
Oh yeah.
And Horseshoe Pond is a great spot for that.
That's where we'll be fishing a lot of for the bluegill bash.
Misery Bay.
But the fun thing about the poppers, you don't have to get fancy. You can get them right out of the bag. The bags used to come with eyes. A couple of years ago, they were selling them with the same size eyes. And these bags, when you buy the poppers, it'll tell you what size hook to use and what size eyes to buy. And then they got a whole variety of eyes. And then you can get fancy. I bought a mesh material, and then when you paint them, you just layer it. You can get little tiny dots like that. You can get bigger ones like that, different types of eyes. And then the nice thing, I brought my fly boxes. The nice thing about tying these, you be as creative as you want, use any material that you want. That's why I brought all the different materials I use. Any colors, you don't have to paint them. I just started painting these things maybe 6 or 7 years ago. You can go out all day just with whatever color the popper is that you buy, unless it's white. But even then, I've never gone out with a white one, but I'm sure it wouldn't hurt. But there's so many more choices now, like these fancy dragon eyes and stuff, and there's some pretty neat materials out there, you know, instead of just using, you know, something like that. That's, I mean, it's an eye, but, you know, I think that looks a little tougher and meaner than that does. And sometimes that might be the difference.
Did the fish come up and tell you which ones they want?
Yeah.
By eating the hook, yeah. If I throw one out and they ain't eating it, and I put something else on and they start eating it, then that tells me they like that one better. But a lot of this is for the fishermen,
Right.
because the especially frog patterns, you know, they got the fancy backs, and people spend so much time. You know, the fish isn't seeing that. You know, it looks really nice in your fly box, you know, and it's fun to do. But I usually, like with these being so many different colors, then that's the material. Then I'll match it to my popper head, you know, and then you can get as fancy as you want or as simple as you want. But that's as simple as it gets. That's everything that we've done on other flies. Almost everybody here is tied in something for a tail, wrapped a hackle, and it doesn't get much easier than just gluing a popper head on. And that's why I stopped tying with deer hair, because when I started, you didn't have many popper bodies, and you had the older ones, and they were heavier, denser foam. And they didn't have good small ones. So that's why I tied with deer hair. But then that's fun, but it can be a pain.
Joe Jackson will forgive you.
Right. And definitely messy. And I mean, it's so much easier. You know, you could do one deer hair popper or knock out 10 or 15 of these, you know.
And if you're cheap too, you know, somebody drinks wine, get the wine corks.
Yeah.
Or just by the kit, like I did from Gary Krebs.
They would actually use wear the earplugs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're heavy.
Yeah, and they soak up water more than these do.
Yep, a lot more fun.
But that's it.
Okay, so how do we get started here?
You go. I got material.